Chutes and Ladders, WWE ID. Hey everyone, my name is Jason.
I'm Desiree Josen.
We have a very special guest for the first time in Chutes and Ladders podcast history. We're actually having a returning guest. He was an awesome guest last time. One of the best received by the actual audience. Marek Brave, thank you so much for joining us, bro.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Des. Thanks for having me on. I didn't know this was the first time in the show's history that there was a repeat guest. I feel honored. I'm essentially the honorary third member of the podcast now, am I not?
100%. Yeah, you're by far her favorite. True story.
Oh, well, I'm very flattered to hear that. Thank you very much.
All right, bro, let's get right into it. What are your initial thoughts, and how were you and Seth approached about this?
You know, it's crazy, right? So 8 years ago, I went down to NXT and did a guest coaching stint, and I was pulled aside by Triple H himself and had a one-on-one conversation, kind of outlining his ideas of how he would like to shine a spotlight on the independents. You know, he's a big proponent of independent wrestling. He comes from independent wrestling. Not a lot of people really recognize that or understand that, but before he signed with WCW way back in the early 90s, he was an indie wrestler. So he still has a lot of respect for indie wrestling. And when you look at a lot of the top guys and girls that he has had a hand in making within WWE, those guys and girls came from the indies as well. You know, you look at my business partner, Seth Rollins, obviously a big indie star, former ROH World Heavyweight Champion there. And then you have guys like Kevin Owens, who was a big indie guy, and Sami Zayn as well. You know, even somebody like Bayley and Paige, when she was still with WWE, big on the indies before getting signed and given a platform within WWE. So Triple H has always been a strong proponent of what we do here on the independent level. And so 8 years ago, we had a conversation of his vision, you know, once he was able to implement those things, what he would like to do regarding the indies. And so, you know, it's professional wrestling. There's a lot of red tape that needs to be sorted out before these things can happen. And so about a year ago, I heard that, hey, you know, that conversation we had 8 years ago, we're gonna start focusing on that here pretty soon. And then, you know, there were some things that went on with WWE, and we don't got to get into those details, but you know, there were some issues that they had to work through before they were able to announce new projects and things like that. You had the TKO merger and all that type of stuff. So it was a little bit of a slow process, but all of a sudden, about 2 weeks ago, we got a message, we got an email out of the blue saying that, hey, here's what we're looking to implement, here's what we're looking to do. And the first step of this WWE independent development program is to focus on quality training schools. So I would say it was about last December, we had a representative from WWE come to Davenport, Iowa, come to the Black and Brave facility, check it out. And then we had about, I would say, 20 of our graduates wrestle for this individual, and he got to watch the matches and critique the matches and give his feedback. And quite frankly, after these matches were over, he pulled me aside and he said he was blown away by the fact that what we do at Black and Brave really is parallel and in lockstep with what WWE emphasizes down at their training facility in NXT, and also what they look for from the television product, you know, what they emphasize, the type of stuff that they focus on. And we were kind of lock in step with that. So they were impressed with our facility, the fact that we have a gym where students can work out. You know, we got free weights and kettlebells and wall balls and stationary bikes and rowing machines and ski erg machines, which I don't ever use, so don't ask me to explain how those work. But you know, we take fitness into account. We take nutrition into account. We focus on psychology and storytelling and character development and promo work, in addition to the in-ring work. And like I said, we emphasize the same things that they emphasize. So he was very impressed with our facility. Fast forward a number of months, they tell us what this program's all about, this WWE ID. They ask us if we'd like to be a part of it. And we said, yeah, man, that sounds like a good deal for us. And I think it's a good deal for the independents as a whole. Don't get me wrong. I'm on Twitter. I'm on the internet. I see some of the backlash that's out there from people who have some skepticism. And I'm not going to say they're wrong to have skepticism. Not everything. The best laid plans, like they like to say, the best laid plans of mice and men here. So it doesn't always come to fruition. It doesn't always work out great. And so, of course, there are some people out there who are a little skeptical about how this is going to go. But just judging by what I've heard so far and the direction of where this program is going to go, a lot of it I'm not able to disclose as of yet. But as far as the training school aspect of it, I think it's a great deal for the independents. And speaking from experience, as somebody who 21 years ago left to get trained in Chicago, by a guy who was well respected on the indies at the time, and still is, Danny Daniels, who runs AAW in Chicago. Myself and Seth, we left with, some money in our pockets and our fingers crossed, hoping that he wasn't going to rip us off, because we didn't know the man personally. We didn't know what type of person he was like. And thankfully, Danny was a fantastic trainer to us, gave us proper training and allowed us to put our best foot forward when we did enter onto the independent scene. But that's not the experience that everyone gets when they try to enter this business of professional wrestling. It can be very difficult to find a reputable training school. And what this WWE ID program does is it puts their stamp of approval on training facilities, which can give potential aspiring professional wrestlers that peace of mind that they're looking for when trying to find a reputable training school. And so WWE says Black and Brave is a place you should go. Then you should have no worries when signing up on our website. You should know, if I go here to learn how to be a professional wrestler, I'm going to be trained the right way in a healthy and safe environment. Beyond that, WWE will be keeping a close eye on me as I embark on my independent wrestling journey. So for me, that's a great thing for independent wrestling. That's a great thing for wrestling schools. And personally, for myself and my gym and my business partners and my students, it's a great thing for us as well.
I think that is so awesome. And I know this idea, it's new, but it's not new. But do you see any short-term or even long-term advantages, or how it can impact the industry in the next couple of years?
Sure, absolutely. We've talked about the short term in the fact that people can now have a little more peace of mind when finding a wrestling school. But in the long term, with WWE keeping a closer eye on the independents, and their goal is to shine a spotlight on the independents and let people know what independent wrestling is, because not everybody out there who's a wrestling fan, whether that's WWE, AEW, New Japan, whatever it may be, not all of those people know that there is something called independent wrestling. Wrestling in and of itself, although it's becoming more mainstream now, has always been kind of a niche form of entertainment. And independent wrestling is a niche form of entertainment. So it's not always easy for us to get the word out about what we're doing on the independent level. And it's not always easy to gain the trust of, consumers out there who are asking themselves, is it worth my time and my money to go to an event like this? Is it going to be like WWE? Am I going to get that same type of experience? And often I feel if you do give independent wrestling a chance, at least a quality promotion a chance, you'll find that you're going to get the same type of entertainment value that you would from WWE, but with a more intimate feel. You're going to get to have conversations with the performers, and you're going to be able to get photos and autographs, and it's not just going to be, the luckiest day of your life if that happens. That can happen at every independent show that you go to. So for independent wrestling to be such a niche form of entertainment, but for such a large corporation like the WWE to be willing to help shine a light on individual performers and individual promotions and wrestling schools, that just helps all of us to be able to get the word out that yes, we exist And if WWE is willing to put their stamp on us, then you can trust that if you come here, if you come to one of these events, you're going to have a good time. If you watch this individual's match, you're going to be entertained. And if you happen to want to enter into the business and you want to train at this facility, you're going to learn the right way. So I think that in the long run, this is going to be a great thing for independent wrestling. Again, I understand the skepticism from certain circles of wrestling Twitter out there, but I think you just got to let the process play out. You got to be patient, and I think within 6 months' time, you're going to look back and go, you know what, that was actually a really great thing that WWE did for the independent scene.
Absolutely. And listen, both of us are pumped. This actually shines a light on what you guys do. Everyone, like, I think they're going to love it as well. Speaking of which and spotting and shining that light, what are the wrestlers? What are their reaction right now?
Oh, everybody's excited. It's such a unique thing. And a surprising thing in a way. You know, we all become fans of wrestling when we're young. I remember being a 5-6-year-old kid watching the WWF at the time and being like, wow, these guys are superheroes and this is amazing. And, you know, too bad I'll never get a chance to do that, or too bad I'll never get to meet these guys. And then fast forward many, many, many years, unfortunately, you know, until to me as a 38-year-old, and I've been running this wrestling school for 10 years with Seth, and to get WWE stamp of approval, for them to turn around and say, hey, you guys are doing a good thing, keep doing what you're doing, and if we can help in any way, we'd love to be able to do that. That's awesome for us. But then for our students who have dreams and aspirations of eventually someday getting a contract with a major organization, to have a place like WWE tell them and reinforce the idea that you're doing things the right way, you're learning things the right way, and we're going to keep an eye on you. And if at some point in your career you've attained a certain skill set and reached a certain level where we feel you're ready to have an opportunity with us here at WWE, then there's a light at the end of the tunnel for these guys. There's an opportunity for tryouts. There's an opportunity for developmental contracts, and there's an opportunity to someday hopefully be on a main roster of WWE or even other promotions out there. I think that's a misconception regarding this program as well, is that WWE wants to monopolize the independent scene, and that's just not the case. You know, they are not going to prevent WWE ID talent from wrestling for certain promotions or going certain places. They're not going to prevent WWE ID talent from losing matches. I've seen that online. That's a big conspiracy theory. The WWE ID talent is not going to be able to lose to non-ID talent. That's just not true. I had a phone call yesterday where that was explained to me in black and white, that they are not going to govern these independent wrestling shows. They're not going to tell them how to do business. So I think with their assistance, it's only going to help independent organizations grow. It's only going to help these independent wrestlers have a greater chance of being noticed. There's still no guarantees, you know. It's not like they came to our school and had all of our wrestlers line up in a row and sign contracts on the dotted line and said, you're all millionaires now. It's just not how it's going to work. But it gives you peace of mind to know that somebody is watching, somebody is paying attention, and when you've reached a level where you have earned the right to get an opportunity to try out for a company like WWE, that's within the realm of possibility. You're not just spinning your tires in the mud week in and week out with no promise of something like that happening in the future.
Nice. Now, I know this is going to be very impactful for the students and for the wrestlers. Are there any opportunities or developmental opportunities for you as a coach and a trainer in this program?
Yeah, that's not something that we've really discussed recently. I had an opportunity to go down to NXT and train about 8 years ago, like I said, and during that time there was kind of some whispers about an opportunity to possibly work for the company. We had just opened Black and Brave a couple years prior. I was very happy and content with my position then. I still am now. I have 2 young children. They're getting a little older now. My oldest is about to go into high school, which makes me feel old. I don't like reminding myself of that. But it wasn't the right time for me to embark on that journey. It still isn't the right time for me. I love being here in Iowa. I love training at Black and Brave, and I love, being around my children as often as I am. It's a great thing, and I wouldn't want to try and relocate to wherever I would need to take that position. So I think for me, the benefits it has for me as a trainer is the fact that I know that I'm doing a good job. There's people out there in high level positions within the top wrestling organization in the world who think that I'm doing a good job, and to get that reinforcement and to get that thumbs up that's enough for me at this time.
Sounds good. All right, I'm going to give you a fantasy scenario.
Sure.
Are there any guys on your current roster that you are training that you think would work really well with any of the guys on the current WWE roster?
Yeah, I mean, we could go down the list. I get asked this question sometimes, and I always hate to answer it because so many people get jealous if I don't name them. And the fact of the matter is I'm a big believer in all of our graduates, everyone who's come through our doors. I can name just a few off the top of my head, and if I'm omitting anyone, if you're a student of mine and you're watching this or you're listening to this, please don't take offense to this. But one guy that jumps right off the page for me is a guy named Steve Manders. He goes by the one called Manders. He's been making a really big name for himself all over the independents here in the United States, as well as he just finished his first tour of Japan, which went really well. He's been getting a lot of work in Europe and Germany and England, and he's doing a lot of great work there. He's somebody who really hustles and gets out there, and he's got a saying. It goes, another highway and another town. He does a cowboy shtick, and I don't even know if it's a shtick anymore. I think that's just who he is. He's a former college football player. He played for the University of Iowa.
Nice.
Really good friends with George Kittle, who is tight end for the San Francisco 49ers, and obviously a great wrestling fan. George is in his own right, but Steve really does things the right way. He works really hard. I can see him doing really well in a company like WWE. We got a guy here who's battled some knee injuries over the last few years, so he hasn't been able to get out there as often as Steve has, but he's a guy named Dion Roosman. He's from Alaska, truly, genuinely, not just in kayfabe land, but he's from Alaska. He's this big, hulking, gigantic guy. He looks like a cross between Rusev and Roman Reigns, which is where he got the name Roosman, Roman, Rusev, Roosman. So Dion Roosman is a guy that I think would do great with an opportunity like that. We got a guy who recently entered into law enforcement. His wrestling career slowed down. He's one of our first graduates. He graduated in the first class of Black and Brave Wrestling Academy. He wrestled under the name Connor Braxton. He's still out there occasionally, very focused on his new position as a police officer here in Davenport, Iowa, but he's really tall. He's 6'6", 270 pounds, real big guy, and a very quality worker as well. And he's had some opportunity to do a lot of extra work with WWE. And I think if given the chance to join their roster, I think he'd really excel. So that's just 3 guys off the top of my head, but there's plenty more out there. I'm a big believer in all of our graduates.
Nice. Now, I have another fun question. Now, with Survivor Series coming up and knowing that your business partner, Seth, also made his main roster debut on this PLE, do you have a favorite Survivor Series moment?
Oh, gosh. That's a tough question. I go back to a lot of the Survivor Series from when I was a young kid in the 90s. I really like the old classic Survivor Series style. Of just teams of random guys pitted against each other. I always go back to the one where you had Doink the Clown and Dink the Clown and just all the clowns. I don't even remember all the names of the clowns, but that one really jumps to the forefront of my mind just for how absurd it was. And as a little kid, maybe I'm the weirdo. I've always really liked clowns. I know there's a lot of people who are scared of clowns, but I love clowns. I loved the circus growing up. So Doink the Clown was always a favorite of mine. So just off the top of my head, I'd probably go with that one. But if I had more time to sit down and think about it, I could probably give you a few others.
Gotcha. Actually, let me ask you a follow-up question because I love the traditional Survivor Series as well. What are some of the complications of an 8-man tag match? Because I'm sure there's more that goes into it because there's so many more bodies, right?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of moving parts in a match like that. Everybody's kind of fighting with each other to get the cool spots in. Everybody wants to be the one who shines the most. Oh, I got this cool move I want to do. Well, I got this cool move I want to do, and you're trying to put it together and make it all make sense and make sure everybody gets an opportunity to shine. But quite frankly, I always love doing matches like that because while there's a lot of moving parts, there's a little bit less to remember because you're doing less as an individual in these matches because there's 7 other guys that need an opportunity to get in there and do their thing. And you got 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. So a little bit less to remember, maybe a fewer bumps that you would need to take, which as an old man is always good for me. But it's an opportunity to make the match really exciting. So I'm a big proponent of 6-man tags, 8-man tags, even 10-man tags if you want to get real crazy with it.
Sweet.
Nice. Well, thank you again for coming on. And, since you are our guest, if you want to shout out or share anything, this is your time.
Well, how about shout out you guys for staying consistent with this? People always ask, what's your key to success? And I say, just stay consistent. Just stay consistent. Keep grinding. Put one foot in front of the other. Don't make excuses for, oh, I can't get on tonight and do this. I can't. I got this going on. I got that going on. You guys stay consistent. This is a great thing you guys got going. So keep doing that. In addition, I want to put over my independent wrestling promotion that I run here in Iowa. If anyone's listening and you'd like to come on out, you can find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram at SCW Pro. Same thing for Facebook. We've got multiple events every month, family-friendly events. Tickets are only $10 for those. We want to make sure that they stay affordable so people can afford to bring the entire family, not trying to break the bank to enjoy a night out on the town. So SCW Pro on all social media platforms. And then, of course, we gotta put over Black and Brave Wrestling. If you'd like to apply, head to our website, blackandbravewrestling.com. We are taking applications not for 2025. We are filled up in 2025, but for 2026, if you'd like to come to a school with the WWE ID stamp of approval, hey man, get on in, fill out an application now. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, at Black and Brave, and Instagram at Black and Brave Wrestling.
I could talk to you for hours, and Who Does can too, but we know you're busy. Thank you. We truly mean this. You are our favorite guest. If someone else comes on, we'll still say Marek's our favorite guest.
I'm going to hold you guys to that.
100%.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate you having me on once again.
Absolutely. All right. And as for us, like always, please DM us at the Chutes and Ladders. I'm sure you can DM Marek too and the wrestling school, for more information on the wrestling school. And also, please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. Once again, my name is Jason.
I'm Desiree Josen.
Have a wonderful week.
Bye, friends.